Visit from a Vampire. Part 3. Ethan and Lily walked side by side in silence, the weight of the night's events pressing down on them. The city streets, now eerily quiet, contrasted sharply with the chaos of the alley. Ethan's mind spun with 1,000 thoughts, each one more confusing than the last. Every glance at Lily sent shivers down his spine, though she seemed completely at ease, as if nothing unusual had happened. When they reached his apartment building, the soft glow of the streetlight cast long shadows across their faces. Lily stopped, turning to him with a teasing smile, her raven-black hair catching the light. It cascaded down her shoulders, framing her sharp, elegant features. Her eyes, dark as the night sky, gleamed with amusement. "I guess you don't want to let me come up for coffee or something?" she asked, her voice smooth and playful, but with a hint of sincerity. She was giving him an out, yet there was a slight edge of challenge in her tone, as if she already knew the answer. Ethan hesitated, his hand still resting on the doorknob. He looked into her eyes, those same eyes that had watched so calmly as she drained the life out of a man just hours ago. His throat tightened. What could he possibly say? Part of him wanted to let her up, to pretend this was all normal, but another part, the part that was still reeling from the sight of her fangs sinking into flesh, screamed at him to keep his distance. I need to process this," he finally stammered, his voice low. He ran a hand through his messy hair, trying to gather his thoughts. "I'm not sure if I can handle this kind of friendship." Lily tilted her head slightly, her lips curving into a small smile. She looked at him with an expression that was both amused and understanding, her sharp, angular face appearing almost too perfect, too calm for the conversation they were having. "What do you mean?" she asked softly, though there was a hint of humour in her tone. Ethan shifted uncomfortably, his eyes dropping to the ground. You're a nice person, Lily," he began awkwardly, feeling the words stumble out clumsily. "I mean, you've been great to me, but I can't help thinking you have these psychopathic traits." Lily chuckled softly, her laugh like silk in the cold night air. "Oh, Ethan, it's sweet that you're trying to apply human psychology to a vampire," she said, her tone light but carrying a hint of something deeper. She found his innocence endearing, even if it was misplaced. For a moment, Ethan felt conflicted. There was something about her, despite everything, despite the terror she had caused him, he couldn't deny that he was drawn to her. But how could he stay close to someone so dangerous? His heart was a tangle of fear, curiosity, and something he couldn't quite name. Before he could say anything more, Lily smiled one last time, her eyes twinkling as she stepped back into the shadows. "Well, take your time to think about it. I'll be around," she said, her voice fading into the night. With a final wave, she vanished, disappearing into the darkness so fast that it made his heart skip a beat. Ethan stood there for a moment longer, staring at the empty spot where she had just been. The street was quiet again, but his mind was anything but. Slowly, he turned the key in the door and entered his apartment, feeling the weight of his decision press down on him. That night, sleep didn't come easily. When he finally drifted off, his dreams were nightmares, vivid, horrifying visions of the alleyway, Lily's twisted form wrapping around her victims, draining their life as if they were nothing more than cattle. He saw her eyes, gleaming with an unnatural hunger. The screams echoed in his mind, and when he woke, drenched in sweat, he realized that he couldn't shake the image of her face, beautiful, yet monstrous. The days that followed weren't much better. At work, Ethan's mind was scattered. He made simple mistakes, and his concentration slipped constantly. The pressure mounted until his boss, a no-nonsense woman in her mid-40s, pulled him into her office. "Ethan, what's going on with you?" she asked, her tone more concerned than angry, though there was a clear edge of frustration. "You've been messing up lately, and it's not like you. Are you okay?" He fumbled for words, unable to come up with an excuse that made sense. I'm I'm just dealing with a lot, he muttered, avoiding her gaze. His boss sighed, leaning back in her chair. Look, I get that life can be stressful, but you need to get it together. We can't afford mistakes like this. I'm giving you a warning, but I need to see improvement, okay? Ethan nodded weakly, feeling the pressure of his crumbling world weigh down on him. Okay, he mumbled, leaving her office feeling more lost than ever. He narrowly avoided getting fired, but it was a wake-up call. Something had to change. He couldn't keep letting Lily's world invade his own. He made a decision. The next time he saw her, he would tell her to stay away. As much as he found her fascinating, as much as he was drawn to her, it wasn't worth his sanity. He needed to protect himself, even if it made him sad. He knew it was the right choice. But days passed and Lily didn't come. Ethan found himself checking the streets outside his apartment, wondering if he would see her lurking in the shadows. He was prepared to tell her to stay away, yet her absence gnawed at him. He didn't understand why, but the fact that she hadn't visited made him feel lonely. He had almost convinced himself that she had seen the futility of their friendship and had decided to leave him alone. It hurt more than he expected. Then, in the dead of night, at 2:30 a.m., a soft knocking woke him from a restless sleep. Groggy, he blinked in confusion before realizing it was coming from his window. His heart skipped a beat when he saw her. Lily standing on the fire escape, her long black hair wild, her eyes gleaming faintly in the moonlight. She was even paler than before, if that was possible, her alabaster skin almost glowing against the darkness around her. He hurried over, fumbling with the latch before finally opening the window. "Can I come in?" she asked sweetly, her voice cutting through the night like a whisper. Ethan nodded, his pulse racing as she slid through the window with a grace that seemed almost otherworldly. His breath caught in his throat as he looked at her up close. She was breathtaking in the way that only something not quite human could be. Her long raven hair framed her sharp, elegant features, and her dark eyes held an intensity that sent a shiver down his spine. But it was her paleness that struck him the most. She was even paler than the last time, her skin almost translucent. "I've been thinking about what you said," she began softly, her voice unusually serious. "And I haven't fed since our last meeting." Ethan stared at her, his mind racing with 100 questions. "Why?" Lily smiled faintly, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "Because I want to keep you as a friend," she admitted, her voice soft and sincere. "I thought maybe we could come to a compromise." He frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" "You're a great hacker, Ethan," she said, her tone becoming more hopeful. "What if you helped me? Hack into the police or justice system, find the worst criminals, murderers, rapists, traffickers. I could feed from them. It's a win-win. I get what I need and they get what they deserve. How does that sound?" Ethan hesitated, his heart torn. The idea still felt wrong, but if she was going to kill anyway, this was better, wasn't it? At least he could guide her away from innocent people. And, in a strange way, he was flattered. She had gone to such lengths just to keep him around. How could he say no? "Okay," he said finally, though the word felt heavy in his mouth. "But just the worst criminals." Lily's face lit up, her smile bright and innocent, as if they had just agreed on something as simple as dinner plans. Deal. That's all for tonight. If you enjoy my bedtime stories, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for joining me tonight.